He fell asleep. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you. We pull the city council workshop back in from recess. We took 30 minutes ago or so, a little over that, my bad, for contemplation period, I will call it. So I'm assuming that the three of you didn't change your minds. You sure?
but I would like
We
to throw
made
one
ex-
other thing
we
towards
made-
you.
You should probably wait on that.
Okay.
We made extraordinary points on our side.
And as
You
did
have to.
we.
Well, your points were marginal at best.
I think that the thing that we can all agree on is that we have two good candidates that we're talking about here. And I don't think that that will negate where this goes if either one of them is chosen.
Right.
Just my opinion.
I think we had actually three really good
Right,
candidates.
but we're talking about two of them
Well,
right now.
And my reason for saying that is because in my ranking of the three candidates, Mr. Reynolds was actually my third ranked of the three. And again, we had three really good candidates. And we haven't talked about Mr. Reeves much at all. I'm assuming we don't need to unless anybody else had him as their second.
No, I think saying he was a good candidate is all we need to say and leave it there.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I will absolutely vote with where the majority is on this because I think it's incredibly important for us to maintain our unanimous positions on this. I do it with a bit of reservation. I think that is okay to say. I think that Mr. Reynolds would be great. I was as I was thinking and going through why I have concern with Mr. Reynolds is there is, and I think it came out with the department head's piece and as well with what you were going to talk about there, Mike, as well as the disc performance is the level of ego there is concerning to me. And again, I will absolutely vote with the majority of council on this because I think it's really important, but I just want to make sure that that is clear and out there from my perspective as I went through and tried to pinpoint a little more where my concern lies, and it's with that piece is that this is an extremely big swing from where we were and where we're going, and Sharon has talked a lot about the fit of a candidate for our staff and for our city and our community and where we're at, and that's been where we've been going with the position profile and all those kinds of things as to finding someone who has the right fit, and I think that Mr. Reynolds could do a wonderful job and could do a wonderful job anywhere that he goes. I'm just concerned about that fit with our community and where we've come from and where we're going. And I think that comes down, just so I'm articulating a little better where my concern lies in this. But again, I will absolutely vote with the majority because I think it's a very good thing for us to have and to show where we're coming from and where we're going, and to have that support for whoever the next city administrator is going to be. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody's clear on that piece. So, Councilor White, do you have anything to say?
I was just wondering how the rest of the three felt on the fit part of that, his comments.
On the fit?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking
cultural
at
fit.
what Mike, that was what we all came up with, and he was the closest to, on the scale as a fit. I know you also talked about ego, but I don't think ego has to be negative quality,
I concur.
so.
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to comment with some of the materials, and I think this was in the writing piece, but it's always good to emphasize. The sheets that you had, the ratings were a way of identifying where there might be questions or things like that that you would want to look at. They're not wrong or right answers or, what have you, and I just want to be clear about how we use that.
Is it safe to say that gap analysis kind of gives you a spectrum of styles?
Councilmember Lehman, it gives you a sense of the style. It kind of, what it's trying to do is look at the things that you said were important in your benchmark and give you some guidance. I mean, I think that you've got, all of the candidates are really there pretty close. Wherever it was indicated, we tried to include some questions so you could at least have a question in that area and see if you are feeling comfortable with it. So it's not a go, no-go kind of thing at
Right.
all. It's just to say, in looking at things, thinking about what you want, it's good to have these conversations with the candidates.
You know, I think in my idea with my choice here was, with the current situation we're in with the different staffing needs we have some institutional stress and anxiety of what's going on. My belief is with Ms. Wilson, that's relieved. With Mr. Reynolds, I believe that it's still going to be around for a while till everybody's comfortable and with his style and with his management background and where he's going to go with things. People know and are what to expect from Ms. Wilson, and it's an unknown with Mr. Reynolds. So as far as staff goes, I think this would move us forward faster by going with Ms. Wilson. But
Would you also vote with the majority, though?
I would vote with the majority. We have two great candidates now, and one does one thing in my mind, and the other does, create some issues, but also I think both would do the job properly. So I would vote with the majority.
All right, you guys both have something to say? Make sure not to talk yourselves out of a sale,
Well,
okay?
I just think the opposite. I don't disagree with Jay, but I think there's a potential for the opposite to be the case too, where somebody or some workers may have past issues with Chris. They may have a clean start with somebody new. So I think there's pros and cons either way, and it's just a matter of looking at it from both directions.
Oh,
I
you're not going to do it?
What?
Talk yourself out of a sale?
No, I'm not.
All right.
I am going to say that if for some reason, and I don't think it's going to happen, the fit doesn't work or has some problems, I'll be the first one through his office door and I will have the loudest voice. And I will do my damnedest to correct the issues.
Okay.
So,
Well, we'll
That's
do that
what
as a
I'm-
council.
Yeah, hopefully
Right.
we do that as a council.
not on my own, but
So, as Ms. Klump was talking about earlier, is that we'll have a vote here in just a moment, and then it'll move forward to a negotiation phase, which happens between yourself and Mr. Thompson and Mr. Reynolds. Is that how that works? Could you give us a little overview of that process as it goes forward?
Well, here's what I think would probably make a little bit of sense. We know what you established as a salary range. We know basically what you have in the way of benefits and that kind of thing. Typically what I do in talking with the candidate is to have some conversation about the offer, and what we, where that interest is, try to, get some things down as a starting point, and then I come back to you. A lot of times it's done just simply as email communications to let you know where things are so you can express concerns, but it means then that you don't have to be at the council table and trying to establish a salary and that kind of thing. That's a hard piece to negotiate at this juncture. I would make sure that you have comfort with basically the terms of the employment offer, because you need to approve that. I would work with Mr. Thompson, and he would draft the agreement for you. And I did talk with him last week, as you know from the memo, so he knows this is coming, and he is definitely prepared to work with and assist you on that. So to follow up, what would likely happen is that sometime probably tomorrow, or given travel schedules, it could be on Wednesday. I would have a conversation and begin to define some things and shoot some things out to you.
Yeah.
Short of putting our negotiation hats in the public, I'm going to ask you just a professional observation and question. Typically, how does relocation expenses and salary and benefits tie together in this process?
Well, generally, what I have found is helpful in relocation is to begin with an understanding of what it's going to take on the part of the individual who is going to move. Things can be different in terms of the considerations, the timing. I don't know what it's going to cost to move and to relocate in this area, and usually the candidate needs to do a little bit of homework. Sometimes it is done, and there's a certain amount that you as a city feel you could put towards it. Sometimes it's like you're going to take care of it all. There are times that I've seen cities that have said we will forgive a certain amount over a period of time, so that it, you don't feel like you've helped somebody move up here and then.
Part ways.
Yes, exactly. So that becomes one of the issues that you kind of look at and define.
And is that the issue, them issues you work out?
Well, what I would start, we need to get a starting point. So I would have some general conversations, and I usually take an approach that, we're working on the taxpayers' dollars, so we need to come up with something that is fair, and start to understand his concerns, and then basically be able to put some things back to you. And then if we're in an area where it isn't going to make sense or we need to pull back, but I certainly don't call and put out an offer if not authorized to do so, but I can get information that can help you be informed on an offer.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So when do we expect, how long does that process take, and will we be ready for the 19th?
I'm not sure if it'll be ready by the 19th. I think in the memo I said it generally can be accomplished in about 10 business days, and part of it depends on just how quickly we can move things through. I would call him, let him know that we would like to begin employment discussions with him, and then set up a time to talk with him. And then follow that up very quickly with an email to all of you. Has that worked okay for you, the fact that I've sent out emails? And I think
As long as we don't reply all, we're good.
yeah, and I think that it may be helpful for me even to just keep the city attorney in the loop on this too, because we definitely want him to draft the agreement. That's not for me to do.
Right.
So I think that, it's kind of to look at it and to see, it might be tight with
Okay.
some of the issues that we'll have to work through, but then again, perhaps not. So
Okay. Perfect.
I do like to move it along as quickly as possible.
Got it. Yes, sir.
One question I have, after we take the vote, we go off camera, I would like to be present for the phone call when you make it. I think we all should. On speakerphone.
I would tell you no. Let me tell you why. You're in one place. He's kind of in another, and I've always found it a little bit better because you're working really hard to do the interview, to hopefully be the person who is selected, and it's a little bit of a shock. So their reactions are a little bit different.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
And then before we get to the vote, I just want to, if for whatever reason things don't work out with Mr. Reynolds, I'm assuming for everyone's sake that Ms. Wilson was second choice.
Let's put that in the motion.
I don't think we need to put it in the motion, but I'm
Well,
just
and the other thing is-
asking for clarity if things didn't work out, what direction she goes. Is that clear?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
it may be that what we want to do is if this doesn't work out, then we'll have to come back.
Yeah, we definitely will. I'm just getting an indication so we know how much of a road that would be. Is that
Let's find out where this goes first.
okay? All right, so we have a motion. Ms. Mokel,
I will make a motion to hire William Reynolds as our next city administrator.
Second.
Double second.
All right, so we have a motion by Counselor Mokel, second by Counselor Luce. Any discussion? I'd like to say thank you to all three candidates. You handled all of our questions and tasks and concerns and all of that with the utmost professionalism and candor, and we really, really appreciate going through this process with you, and thank all three candidates for doing that and being part of this to help serve our community that we all love. So it is good that we had three excellent candidates, and thank you to Ms. Klump for all of your work.
She's not done yet. Don't thank her yet.
That's
Well,
right. I am not
yeah.
done yet. He is
Well,
absolutely right.
all of your work to getting us to this point today to have a final candidate that we can unanimously vote for and move forward and see where we go from there. So, any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you for my pen back. So we have to adjourn. We don't have anything between now and the 19th, right? So.
Not as a council, no.
Right, so I need a motion to adjourn to May 19th at 7 PM.
Motion to adjourn to May 19th, 7 PM.
Second.
Second by Councilor Luce. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone.